5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Impossible.
Radiant team pick. Dire team pick. Mars!
Doing great, Mike. Last series of the night between two pretty explosive teams, EXECRATION and Yangon Galacticos. You know, they've also been a bit up and down in groups. YG currently sitting at a bit of a better standing than I think most people expected, going 2-2-2. EXECRATION sitting at 1-3-2 themselves, so they're going to need a win to kind of drag themselves up. Same thing goes for YG. If they want a shot at the upper bracket start, they're going to have to find a full series win. So a draw doesn't really do favors to either side. We're going to have to see some clean wins coming through. We'll see if either side has it to take a clean series here. Of course, I've seen some chatter that YG did just play in a different tournament and did just get eliminated, so that might be weighing on their minds a bit. But hopefully they come into this series with a fresh mind, a fresh slate, and kind of take it as it comes here.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
And you can kind of flex this around for YG. This could be your two supports, 5 Undying, 4 Venge, or you could run offlane Undying, or you could run offlane Venge. Maybe a pause 1 Venge, but that has certainly faded out. But options are open for YG. For EXECRATION, it's looking like they've just hammered in basically their 2 cores. Mars offlane coming out here for BDZ. For their offlane, Tino, of course, and Lina being played by Bob, likely, as he does perform spectacularly well on Lina. So 2 cores locked in for EXECRATION. Of course, they have the advantage in the sense that they have an all-red draft so far. So they're keeping in team, and they're feeling good about that. Maybe that gives them more power. Who knows?
Radiant team ban. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I think it should just head mid. It's something Bob performs on really well. Tends to wreck face when he does have the Lina, so I'd say the Lina mid is a lot better for EXECRATION than having it 4. If you run 4 Lina with Mars offlane, that can still work. Spear into LSA is pretty nice. You can also just right-click away from a mile away, but the value for that Lina is really in scaling. So I think the core position's a lot better for it. I want to go back to that earlier point, Mike. Imagine if there was like a passive in Dota drafting where if you draft all red heroes, you get bonus strength. Could you imagine that? Or all blue heroes get bonus int. All green heroes get bonus agi. Can you imagine what that would do to drafting? I would love to see that. But that's kind of silly, but it would be interesting.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I could check real quick to satisfy your morbid curiosity, Mike. I don't know why you'd want to beat up on something that's...
Radiant team pick.
Yeah, absolutely is the best hero in the game. Get that underrepresented Spirit Brother. You know, for YG, they've got 2 green heroes, mixing it up a bit, not going all in on one color scheme. Of course, Venge is blue. For EXECRATION, they've got the Lion now, so they've got their own hold. They've got the Laguna and Finger, which we've seen be so effective time and time and again. They've got really good laning as well with a Mars Lion combination. So Spear, Earth Spike into Spears there. The Nightmare into Spears there as well if you want to run Bane there, but likely we'll see the Lion 4, and you're just kind of building up with really all the strong heroes that are in the meta right now for EXECRATION. For YG, it's a bit left field. Earth Spirit gives you roll opportunities onto the Lina. You can kind of catch the back line of the Bane, stop the grip from coming out as well. You've also got the swap to kind of help with that. So you've got some ways of managing that single target control on EXECRATION. This is signaling perhaps that we will have the Undying off lane, I want to say. Like I feel like in this case you might just go Undying off lane, run the Venge 5. That sounds a bit greedy with an Earth Spirit though, so maybe it's the off lane Venge. They go with a Spectre now as well, which can play with a minus armor. It gives you good pacing once the Ags is up. We tend to see that a lot, and it's pretty hard to zone out in lane. The Mars line still has a lot of angles to play there though, so it's not exactly the safest lane for the Spec, but if you're running Spectre Undying, you can kind of protect the Spectre, have the Undying run and put its body forward, and just kind of cop all the spells. It will take a lot of commitment to kill off the Undying, at least level 1 to 3, so the Undying can kind of just get that initial farm up for the Spectre running in that lane.
Radiant team bad. Dire team bad. Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
That definitely could help out. Just hit some good timings, have the Earth Spirit play around with that mobility the Ember could have. Storm could kind of fit that same spot, but I think that will struggle a bit more against the Lina lane. So the Ember should have a safer time in that sense, with some protection on the Flame Guard and some dodge potential with a Sleight of Fist compared to a Storm Spirit lane. So we'll see if YG will pick it up in the end. It hasn't been banned out. In fact, Storm, Ember, and Void Spirit are all unbanned, so either one of those highly mobile heroes could line up. Perhaps the Void Spirit could feel a little bit better in terms of trading. You block physical damage, you've got good wave clear and good base damage as well. And we have seen Void Spirits, if they do manage to get the Remnant landing, they can actually play aggressive, so that could be one way to control the Lina up as well. EXECRATION, looking for their win condition. They do pick up...
Choose your hero.
I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of the Naga. On support was like, yeah, on core it can work a little bit better. You can hit some faster farm timings. Hit your diffusal. Manta is really the big point. Maybe you could go for Falcon Blade early if you feel you need a regen. I think you might just want to skip that. Head for Yasha. Go for diffusal. Finish up Manta. It's the general order you see if you want to be a bit aggressive. We'll see how much they can get with Naga Siren up here. I think Yangon have some answers though. Like the Spectre might not be able to kind of handle the illusions too well, but the Ember will. Especially if you do go for Sleight of Fist focused build with an early Maelstrom. You can rep through the illusions quite fast. For the Naga Siren in this game, you don't have the best song combination. You've got Song LSA or Song Arena, but it's not something like Static Storm, Vac Wall, which I feel like is a bit more impactful. So we're gonna have to see how much Execration gets, but yeah, Marb on Naga Siren, I think I have seen him play that on IAP for esports circuit, and it is something he excels at. So this is a safe pick for Marb. And a little bit of a fun fact, I don't think anyone raised this point when we saw Marb come in. IAP is the sister team of Execration. Well, I think I raised that point, but yeah, IAP is the sister team of Execration, same parent company, so it's a bit of a trade inside. And Marb has been doing pretty well for Execration, so we'll see if that holds up with his Naga Siren here. It's tough to tell. I feel like Execration have really good control for the Ember Spirit with Lion, with Bane. No easy ways to break off the grip outside of the roll from your Earth Spirit or the Venge if you do get Vision after the swaps, so that's it. But I think YG should be able to hit a bit of a faster pace. Naga just takes so long to farm up that I think the Spectre is just going to overtake here.
Of the night between Execration, of course, YG. Both teams kind of struggling right now in the group stage. Definitely want as many points as they can possibly get before the group stage does come to an end, which it is very soon coming to an end. I believe in a few days we're hitting up the playoffs. Happy birthday to somebody. Whose birthday is it?
I have no clue. But if it is someone's birthday on YG, happy birthday to them. Unfortunately, I only know that it's Jackie's birthday, because he's the only one who's insane enough to accept a friend request from me.
I mean, I assume he was saying it towards Execration. Oh, never mind. It was YG. I wonder who it is. Everyone very quiet here from the side of YG. Nobody owning up. No birthday boy for us today, John. At least not now.
Yeah. You know whose birthday it always is, though? My Pro Dota 10.
I know, John.
Even though Motivate Trust isn't here, you gotta give him a shout out. When you talk about birthdays, he's king. Every single day is a happy day for him.
It's a question. You and I get to a LAN one day, right?
Yep.
Still wish happy birthday to My Pro Dota on LAN.
In person? At least once. Not every day. I think the running will kind of run out, yeah? In a LAN.
I meant on LAN, as if we're casting a game.
Yeah.
Do we give a shout out to My Pro?
I think you'd need some context there. So maybe for casting a T1 game, it's kind of acceptable because they're also MY Kang for whatever reason. Or if Motivate Trust is there, I think the context is required. But of course, if we've got the opportunity, you got to give the guy a shout out. He's a legend in the Thai scene, everyone's friend in Southeast Asia. I don't know how, but he is.
Right. It does seem like an impossible task in SEA, let me tell you. Even I find myself saying some very, very nasty things in some games, I'll tell you that. Zorain. Bit of a walk around. They have that nice observer ward there on the high ground of the Radiant side. Execration, I don't believe we've spotted it out. So it should remain for quite a while. In terms of bounty runes though, Marb has stolen one away from YG, so that'll be a 3-for-1 trade. Really a nice start here for the side of Execration. And while we're around, we will talk about the bot lane, where you do see Marb on that Naga. Of course, against Lund and Skill Lay. So they have gone for the Pos 3 Venge, Pos 4 Earth Spirit to help him out. Do have the support of RR coming in on that Bane as well. There's Naga Siren. I know you and I don't have the most faith in Pos 1 Naga, but if it does take off, and if you have got a specialist on this hero, it can be quite a painful experience for the opponents. looking very forward to seeing what Marb can get done, but I don't think it's going to be that easy of a laning stage for him.
Yeah, it's not going to be too easy. At the same time, I don't think it's the toughest lane. Like, Venge kind of has to walk up, use the Wave of Terror. They can't really come up and right-click down Naga every single time. Skill A is a melee here as well. They are using Boulder Smash quite nicely for the damage, though. And early on, Naga doesn't have the highest HP pool, so you can kind of harass out that way. I think RR has to put his body forward here, ensure the spells are used on him, buy space for Marb to keep farming up, and kind of build up. Initial wave doesn't look too bad. Good laning control from Marb. Wave is shoving in a bit as well, so can be able to just build up. And I think for the side of YG, it's going to take them level 2, probably safer at level 3 to hit their spike once you have the value point in Magic Missile and the roll. And that's when you can kind of line up for the aggression. But at that point, RR should be 2 with Nightmare saves.
Oh, in the meantime, Tino top lane already ends up dropping. Zorain able to pick it up on the Undying, and well, that's one thing you love to see as an Undying player is picking up that first blood. Like BDZ is still trying to go after Zorain, but with all the stolen strength he has, he's just way too tanky of a target to take down. That being said, though, Zorain is, well, he's at least out of mana regen apart from that one mango, so we'll see how long he wants to stick around at this top lane before he ends up just kind of denying himself off and getting a reset. For now, he does still have the salve up, so should be okay to remain, but well, I say that they might force the reset right now. They've got the spear out, and they will get some revenge here for Tino.
Yep, they get a nice kill in exchange. You're still happy about that for YG. Finding first blood with the Spectre and Dying lane, not something you initially expect, like especially in a Mars. He's fairly tanky. Of course, as a strength hero against Undying, it doesn't feel great. You just lose so much with each decay. I think that's where the power of YG comes out in that dual lane. But so far, doing a great job of just giving House space. He's level 3 now. He's going to be able to hold out against the aggression, the double stuns that might come through here from Execration. And as long as this initial farming phase for how goes this way, you know, just kind of passively for him, at least, you're pretty much happy with that result. You can go into the jungle early on, get the Echo Saber, look for your first haunt once level 6 is up, and start running from there.
Of course, mid lane, Young PH against Bob. Now, Bob seems to be really dominating right now, at least in terms of CS, and it's to be expected. Like, the leaner, during this laning phase, will just be able to right-click you down. Young PH just kind of has to get through it, keep his own farm up as best as possible, and just remain in the lane. He is going to have to be playmaking for the team, and we talked about this during the draft. They have a great draft for aggression, but they are very reliant on this mid lane working out here for YG.
You have to hit those initial farm timings for Young PH. Like, I think you can safely go for the right-click build here. Just go for a Sleight of Fist maxed out first, like a 3-2-1 build. At the end, go for Phase Boots. Orb Corrosion, your right-click damage will be off the roof here.
Marb barely surviving bot lane. RR going after skill A does actually pick up the Earth Spirit. Lun still going to try and get this Bane, but RR is going to be able to get himself out. Oh, nice self-cancellation. Lun reads that Salva's going to fly out from the Bane, and well, Marb, he's not going to have that nice regen coming in anymore. Because he's by the tower at the very least, so he gets a bit of passive regen that way, and well, for now, he's still farming just fine in this Naga.
Just having a pretty decent time. 21-5, a little bit better than House farm on a Spectre. And when it comes to the core-to-core farming pace, Naga's going to be a bit quicker. Now, how we used to see like blade mail builds on Spectre just doesn't feel good. And speaking of,
oh, how one more hit and he'll get it. That just shouldn't happen. BDZ goes from being a kill, a guaranteed kill from YG, to turning into a Spectre kill.
Yeah, it's a great turnaround. Not what you want to see in Spec. We already talked about it a bit, Mike, but if your Spectre goes off slow, the Naga Siren will outfarm you, and it will hit those. It will hit that Yasha defusal timing a lot quicker because of the illusions, because of how well it can clear through camps compared to a Spec. Even with a Blade Mail build, potentially for How, which is not guaranteed. Still down mid.
Uh-oh, Young PH, he's not level 6 yet. They're going to keep going in, even with the tier 1 tower hitting Bob. He does not care. He understands the limits of his hero and does get that important pick off and just backs off back towards the fountain. Again, Young PH, he's going to be the backbone of this team on this Ember Spirit. So really needs to make sure he at least has an average kind of mid lane. I suppose he is still having an okay time, but careful not to fall too far behind.
Yeah, it's an important kill to get, I think, for YG. We're talking about early activity with the Ember and Earth Spirit. They haven't really gotten that out. I mean, there are some rotations in from Skilla. He's been sniping runes, but still camping around here. Maybe looking to try to pick off Bob, but he's fully reset. He's got Laguna up as well. Could be a dangerous foray, and they're just gonna play it safe. Gunning for the 6-minute rune.
Ara, kick onto the cliff, but won't quite get him far enough. In fact, Ara is gonna get himself a nice bounty rune now. Thank you very much, Skill 8. See you next time. I believe Skill 8 did want to kick him onto that high ground on the cliff, but doesn't quite get there. Meantime, Tino being chased down by zombies, falling very low now. Soul Rip, though, not going to be quite enough yet, and he has another spear available. Going to go on to Hao. Hao is dropping very low. It won't be worth if he dies like this, and it looks like he is going down. I mean, Zorain gets a kill on the Undying, but you lose your pos 1 Spectre. I can't say that's worth whatsoever for YG. Meantime, though, Marb, he's dropping low, but he just TPs away. In fact, now they found Zorain. Soul Rip is only going to delay the inevitable, and Bob will happily take another kill.
A big kill to get. First use of Laguna as well. They don't manage to lose their Naga. They get the kill on the Undying who tried to run away. You've killed off the Spectre twice now. How? Unfortunately, Mike Howe is going for the Blade Mail build. So he understands that maybe hitting the Echo Saber is not going to work out. He's not going to be able to play as aggressive as he'd want. So Blade Mail for farm to kind of keep up. Issue is you're not going to keep up with Naga. You just won't. The Naga Siren will clear through camps a lot quicker with the illusions, with the Riptide coming through, lots of good damage for flash farming. And YG now, because of this slower start in Spectre, will have to stall the game out as best they can. They still have the steady foundation on the Ember that they can rely on. YG's going in.
Yeah, Tombstone drop. They really want Bob down, and they've got him. Very, very nice rotation now from YG. Top lane is being forced in the meantime, so Tino and BDZ trying to get some objectives out of this. Definitely a very important pick, though, as Bob, he was just getting way too much.
Yeah, it's big turn of events for Execration. You're just applying that early pressure. Killing off Bob is not the best thing in the world, but if you find that tier 1 fast and find these kills, it could work out.
Gonna go after Zorain, but they have help coming in. Skill lane with the rollout onto BDZ. It's not gonna save Zorain's life, but they might at least get BDZ, but now Bob's rotated. The skill lane will drop to boot. Bob will take another kill here. In fact, it was Tino who secured the kill on the Mars. The net worth just continues to escalate for Execration. As now another spear out. How? I'm not sure about this. It looks way too aggressive. He is at least going to be able to back as Young PH continues to try and go after Bob. Hauntown now as well, but Bob is fine. Young PH, he's still trying to reach this Lina. Slide of Fist, no, he's got no mana. He gets the kill, but he's not going to get out of this. Do you call that worth, John?
Found 2 kills, so in the end he does get a little bit more net worth in EXP. I think that is worthwhile. Issue is the rest of Execration are still melting here.
Yeah, BDZ's gonna drop. Seeing that hyper aggression from this kind of draft starting to slowly pay off as YG, it doesn't feel like they can slow down, because you look at Hal, he's not anywhere near that Blade Mail yet. The Spectre needs so much more space in comparison to, say, the Naga Siren, where Marb, top of the net worth board, 4.2k net worth, not really struggling whatsoever.
Yeah, it's no contest for the Naga right now. They're not jumping in her lane, leaving her to free farm and be able to run around the jungle, keep building up. They do manage to take the mid-tier one here on YG side, so they're denying some space. Often they can start to invade that jungle, plant some aggressive wards, prevent that farming pattern from happening. Not going to catch a pick off, but this does set a good pace. That's a really nice early tier 1 to take, and they should just play on the aggressive now to buy space out for how is she called, and to maybe slow down Marb. They've got to find that Naga while she's weak. She doesn't have Song when the Naga is very vulnerable.
He's just farming the Die Triangle. It's not really somewhere you'd expect Marb to be at the moment, but that's exactly where he is. Courier might have spotted him out for a second, but I think he may have gotten away with it, and yeah, he's just going to TP up. But in the meantime, YG, they're still doing a great job of just taking down these tier 1s. So the bot T1 now going to be set up on. Definitely hitting a nice timing, but I just get concerned about the carry matchup. Well, we've seen how fast these Naga Sirens tend to escalate once they've got one core item up, and that's usually the Manta. At least he does have the Yasha for now. You've got to question whether the aggression is enough so far. Like, it just doesn't feel quite like that yet.
It's not quite there. I think when you see the Earth Spirit, you expect more commitment towards mid, especially with the Ember. The brother duo can be really mobile, really aggressive early on, but they haven't been able to capitalize on that mid very early on. They did manage to get a kill on Bob, but then they haven't been able to invade the jungle. Now it's Rain.
So caught out, but Undying. Another kill to go the way of Execration now. Gee. It feels like every hero that goes down just means that they can't run the draft the way they want to.
Yeah, they really can't. You look at Execration, they take over the top jungle, they've got really good offensive wards to watch this area, limiting the area for how to play. He has to play on the opposite side of the map, and if you're not careful, you might lose more. Young PH is playing forward, and they do have the Hex ready on BDZ. No blink, so it can be a bit hard to gap close. That is a risky move from YG. I think for YG, their big issue is not just the Spectre mic, it's also the fact that with an offlane Venge, you're gunning for Ags. So it's also a slow build-up. Like, the Venge can maybe play with a swap, leverage the wave of terror minus armor, but its big power spike is still an Ags build-up, and that's like 4.2k gold investment, which means more time you're just kind of sitting passive, waiting for some build-up, and that's just something Execration does better. Like a 2k lead, 10 to 8, your Nog is at almost 6k gold. In comparison, your Spectre's at 4.6, your Ember's at 5k almost. That 1k lead is pretty big, and yeah, Naga's just going to escalate from there.
Always Discord issues. Every time.
No.
Uh-oh.
He said, wait.
Oh, we've got to go. We've got to... Yeah. Seen this one before today. So, I'm not sure what's going on with Discord. I mean, you and I have never had a problem, John. I feel... I mean, we've had problems, but it's not this frequent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all throughout today, you know, we're on Discord.
Yeah.
No server issue, so... Maybe we're fortunate in that sense. You never know. Southeast Asian internet around the area, it's
I guess so.
Varyingly bad, right? Like, it can be bad from area to area at different times, so maybe it's just acting up at the wrong time here.
Yeah, I suppose that is fair. Blessed to be in Australia. Young PH. What is it, John? You're about to make a smart-ass comment, I can tell.
Good old NBN, you know?
YG's grouped up again. Smoke up from Zorain. They're going to try and get some kind of aggression going again. RR is not quite the target you really want to run into here, but it might be the only option they have. Eventually spot him. Zorain's going to have his smoke broken. But if you don't go for him, you're not going to find anyone. Bob, he's out of there. He's already got the boots of travels up. So very mobile now on this Lina. And they are indeed going to eventually just go for RR. Secure the easy kill. It was really just the only option. And again, for the smoke committed, it's just not what you want.
No. You need bigger kills here for YG. And we talked about how aggressive this lineup has to be. And try to stall out for the spec. A kill is a kill. But look at the side of Execration. Playing top, no one contesting Marb's farm. Manta style almost up on your Naga, so pinning down the Naga becomes a tougher job. And there's more stats to melt through. A lot of HP, a lot of armor. Can be very well protected with the full Manta style pickup. The side of YG, they're not too far behind. Again, still relatively close, 10 to 9, 2k lead. They took the mid-tier 1. They're controlling that bot jungle really well. But they're not farming it very well, which is my biggest issue. I think if you're not farming it well, then you've got to get better kills, but they're just not able to find them.
Still hunting. Gonna drop the tombstone, just farm the Radiant Triangle, it looks like. So, YG, I mean, this is that point where they start to look a little bit lost, I feel. I'm sure you've got to take the time to farm, but this isn't necessarily what the draft does. I suppose in the meantime, Hao is safe, so as long as your Spectre's farming, I guess they're happy.
He's farming Radiance, though.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, you know?
Well, they got Tino at the very least. They're going to find the Mars, and that'll be a very nice pick-off, and they'll get it. I suppose the Radiance is nice into the Pos 1 Naga, though. I guess that's kind of the point. Make some of those illusions miss. Yeah. I think it's amazing, John, but I kind of see the idea.
Yeah, it is good in dealing with the illusion spam. You can melt through the mischance, provide some good sort of pseudo EHP coming out for the entire team. I don't think the Naga will care too much, though. Like, she can just overwhelm the Radiance mischance. The burn, melting the illusion's not a massive factor as well. I think the timing's the big issue. Like, Hao has to hit this Radiance by 22 minutes, I want to say, is the latest. I mean, even then, that sounds really fast and all.
Mid lane, Young PH, he's been caught out. They've got the Beast Grip there as well. Swap might save him just barely, and it does. Nice swap out from London. Now the turnaround. BDZ's going to drop it. Marb is there with the song. Tries to run his way up, but they definitely want to try and force the chase. Still, Young PH, he's gone too far. Arena Spear is there from Tino. And now they might be able to counter-initiate. Like, never mind Marb, he doesn't have the backup. G, they get a support kill, but then they lose their mid-ember. Definitely this doesn't feel like the best trade.
It's really not. I mean, Young PH, very brave to still move in like that when he was so low on HP, but Execration read that move, understanding that there might be some follow-up jump. Good interception from Tino. I think you would have seen more action as well if Bob didn't just freshly TP up top to farm. So if the Lina was around, you might have had even more kills coming in. I think YG should be fairly happy that they don't lose more, but still unsatisfied losing the Ember. So still trying to apply that aggression. They are going to try to jump. Nice swap.
Yeah, Tino, again, going to be in trouble here on this Mars, and he's desperately trying to get that BKB up to be able to survive these moments, but it's going to be another nice setup here from Lun. That's what you want to see. They're just barely about to run into Bob, but run the other way. Is though, Marb is still freely farming. I know I keep saying this, but Diffusal Blade up very, very soon. I suppose both teams just kind of accepting each other's carries farming, how he's doing the exact same thing. I don't know if you pointed this out already, John, but he has switched items up.
Oh,
going into the Manta, build up into the Eye of Skadi now for Hao.
Yeah, it's preferable. It's a lot faster to build up. You have more impact, you can dodge some of the control. Feels a lot nicer. When it comes down to controlling the Naga illusions, you have an Ember. Just rely on Young PH with a Maelstrom. He's going to be able to melt it himself with a Sleight of Fist. You don't need to worry about that. So I like that switch from Hao. I think the illusions, again, aren't going to be a big factor. It's the main hero you have to worry about. Like, once she does hit this Diffusal timing, she's going to hit harder. And once she hits hard timing, killing off the real Naga is going to be the chore.
They've got Young PH again. They should have the damage, and they do. But now the counter initiation, Zorain trying to come in with the Flesh Golem, but, well, isn't really going to be able to get much done. In fact, they had to swap him away from the Naga illusions. They were just dealing way too much damage already. Keep in mind, this is without that Diffusal Blade up yet. Like Bob, he's still going on that leader. Zorain, he's gone. Like BDZ, he'll land a stun out onto the bench. They'll get another. The Fiend's Grip's there. Tombstone taken out, Benja's taken out, the Remnant's going to be taken out. They are taking absolutely everything here, Execration. They'll even stick around for the top tier 2 tower. Skill Lake. Barely getting away with that roll.
Yeah, Tino on point. Camping Young PH.
Yeah, Young PH is going to be a little bit cautious here. I suppose they are going to force out the BKB and the Horn. Tino, he's just going to BKB TP though. Maybe they get RR. Looks like they will. We've kind of talked about this. That's the last target they really want to pick up. RR just has no value here on the Bane once the Fiend's Grip's gone. I'd find BDZ in the tree line if they check, but I highly doubt they check that tree line.
pretty sneaky from BDZ. Does have the TP ready, maybe looking to intercept a creep wave or wait for the team to wrap around. Marv making his way up top. Tino's back as well, fully refreshed. They could actually force the fight if they do hang for too long in YG, but they will pull back. They're playing it safe. They defend their tier 2 top. Half HP, no fortify for the next push though. So EXECRATION, if they do decide to shove out once more, have an opening. Still YG, they smoke up, looking for the wraparound play here. But they're kind of blind. No forward vision means that they're just kind of shooting in the dark here.
Feels like that every time. Bob, he'll be a nice pickup. Chains though, not gonna land. Roll off the mark as well. BKB gonna be forced. He might turn. Lun, he'll get Light Striker 8 up. You've also got your Bane just running right now as they do not land the side of his chains. Boulder Smash at least is gonna get there, but they are gonna have to settle again for the +5 Bane. And it'll get frustrating after a while here for YG, just constantly only finding a Bane pickup from all these 5-man rotations. And of course, in the meantime, they lost their top tier 2 tower. Tino's got BKB TP if he needs to. And he's not even doing that. He might stick around for a tombstone. In fact, they found skill lane. The Earth Spirit is going to get bursted down immediately as Tino now is going to try and force a fight. Lun, he's the one caught out. Marv, do you want to keep going? It doesn't seem like it. He does have the song up if he wants to commit it, and eventually will. So has to go straight for the TP out. He'll be just fine in doing so. However, Lun
Barely getting out.
has been caught, and Bob's going to finish him off. No way to defend him.
They barely get out with Naga. That was fairly close. I think you are tanky still, but you have a lot of room to grow. The Scotty's going to be big for Marb. Not opting for the rush, heart rush, just opting for some more slow, some more presence here, taking out some of the regen that YG might have on hand. YG, for their part, how is going back for the Radiance? So it looks like after the Manta just wants the Radiance burn, wants that impact, wants to slow down the illusions from having too much presence, and I guess you can handle it. I mean, it's feeling like the Ember alone is enough, but having that burn can improve your presence with Haunt as well. So there is value to be had. That is going to be a bit of a late timing. YG will smoke up once more. This time they might find people down mid.
EXECRATION's ready though. Lun's gonna have his smoke broken. Young PH gonna try and sneak up, but he's gonna have his own smoke broken. They'll at least get BDZ here. Haunt's gonna be immediate, and they will just try and secure the Lion kill, and they'll get it. Can they get more though? Alright, he's been caught out on the Bane to boot, and he'll be a secondary. So YG finding 2 supports. It's a great start. They're into that mid tier 2 tower. You start to wonder now, John, has this Naga got and done enough yet? I mean, in terms of net worth, he's not that far ahead of Hao anymore.
It's kind of lagged behind, but I think you're just waiting for items to flow in. Like, you do still have that forward presence. You kind of need your supports there. And for that entire fight, Bob was playing top once more. So he committed his TP for a bit of a split push to get farm. Without the Lina, you're missing a ton of DPS. EXECRATION just had to accept that loss on mid, back off. YG are using these holds very nicely though. They're blowing them a bit wider, using that to kind of stay in the game, keep the net worth even. 16 to 17, 2k lead still stands for EXECRATION, but the item spikes are coming true. Hao almost has enough gold to pick up the Sacred Relic into the Radiance next. Gonna have a lot of, again, presence with a Haunt, burn through the illusions. Gonna be hard to melt through Spectre with right clicks, but you do still have a lot of magic damage to handle that. Young PH going for the Lincolns to save from the grip. Gonna be useful once that's up. So that is something for EXECRATION to have to watch out for. They can't just set up with Nightmare immediately or the grip or the Hex. They're gonna have to break that Lincolns first, would say Enfeeble. Probably their best spell to do so before jumping the Ember, and that could throw them off for a loop on the reveal of that item once it's up. So gonna be impactful for Young PH. Lacking only the recipe, not too far off.
They'll catch Sorain at the top lane. Lun, did he get a swap back? Bob, he's a big target, but he's gonna get his BKB off in time, and Lun, unfortunately, he swapped him back by himself. That's going to force a buyback out from there Undying, but it's not looking like a great fight. Fiend's Grip is there. RR immediately holding down the Earth Spirit. Skill A, he's going to die soon. Spirit is there, but the Song going to be committed to make sure they're able to just retreat. That's going to be enough for them. Tino was left behind though, unfortunately, so Yamaz might just end up dropping, but he gets the blink away. I thought they spotted him out with the Wave of Terror in the tree line, but apparently not. It won't matter though. They finally got the control off. Tino, BKB's up. He's got TP. He's not committing it. There is no swap on Lun, but he may not know that. So roll this forward, Tino. Now in big trouble as young PH is going to rotate over and eventually they'll find him.
Now that's a nice kill on the Morris. Just a bit curious that he held on to the TP for so long. Maybe it's stats he said. He didn't expect that the swap was still on cooldown, so he just kind of used his BKB run. He did create a lot of space, that space where Marb is farming into the opposite triangle, but they do lose their top tier 1. So nice tower for YG. Staying in the game, Execration still maintaining a 5k lead, but YG get to dip into Roshan. And it's going to be a big Roshan to take. 2 lives in the Spectre might be a bit harder to handle. That's a lot of damage from the dispersion flying through. However, Bob's got the full silver edge up, so they've got a break for the spec now. And they've got the Scotty up in Naga. Roche is still dropping. Looks like they might just have to surrender that.
They've got young PH, but Swap is out from Lun. That might save him as young PH is still okay. Not for long though, because Bob has the Laguna and now the fingers out on Lun. You do have the Aegis up, and you certainly can start forcing another fight. As Bob, he's going to barely survive the Magnetize, but Marb and RR are both going to drop. No song was available for another 10 seconds, so they could not save. And I'm really surprised YG's able to get away with that Roshan play. I mean, sure, you get young PH and Lun, but that Aegis is quite detrimental for them here on Execration. And the fact that they just, I guess they just didn't guess it was happening.
I think they got the scan off at the right time on that Roshan, but they just weren't in position to contest. They were playing bot with Naga, they were playing elsewhere with Alina, so they can collapse at the right time. The Roche just fell a lot faster than they'd expect. Tino now in a bit of an awkward spot. Lots of heroes coming in, does have his BKB to bail out, and should be safe, but still has to watch. Spots out how, but no one's there to follow through with him, and he's going to have to just back off in the end. The side of Execration playing on mid, getting what they can, maybe trying to dodge out the Aegis. No Naga makes this a bit of a hard fight.
EDZ has been caught out. Bob is there to back him up though, so Lun, not going to be the freest kid in the world, but the Lun is going to be able to survive as now YG. You can really start to feel the confidence from this team. So I think even if there's a 5k net worth advantage on Execration, it does start to feel like YG are the stronger team now. You are starting to hit that territory, and that's without Hao even getting involved. Once Hao gets involved in the picture, it just feels impossible. I mean, Ags is coming out soon as well. Snaga Siren, it just doesn't feel strong enough.
No, it's not at its peak. The heart is probably the biggest point for the Naga. That's where the illusions can be really hard to manage even with the Ember, even with the Radiance up. The illusions will do a lot of work, and I think that's the point that Morb has to hit now. And the emphasis has to start turning on Bob. He's the real big hitter. It's always kind of the Lina that becomes your win condition when you have it on mid. You have this kind of pause one that just has some decent scaling, but isn't really the best. Lina will take over that job. Bob is doing a good job. You know, he's got the silver edge. The break's going to be good against the Spectre once more, but he needs more. Satanic's going to help that forward presence, but they've got to do something here. High ground under siege already.
YG definitely very confident now. I mean, they will enfeeble and at least reduce some of the base damage from Hao, but that only lasts so long. YG will just keep going. This glyph will be forced out. YG, how far do you want to keep going? Well, there's a swap out. They've got the Naga, and they're going to burst it down straight away. Can they survive Marb? No. He's gone without buyback. Sorries are out, but it doesn't matter right now. As Bob is going to find his own way out. Roll forward. They found the Lina. That's the target you love to see go down here if you are YG. This is very problematic now. As Execration, they at least have to buy back on Bob if they hope to defend. I think YG, they might think about going for that second lane of barracks in the mid lane.
They have nothing to fear. Age is still up on Hao. a lot of healing coming through from Zarin with the Soul Rip and the Holy Lock It Up. You know, that's like 572 HP healing every 6 seconds, by the way. If you have the max amount of units around you, it's like 572 HP at 6 seconds. That's nuts, and there's just not enough from EXECRATION to burst down at this point. They need Finger and Laguna to fly onto one target to get that kill.
Oh, swap out. They got BDC. Be another one for the books here, YG. That'll guarantee them the mid, and in fact, they're picking out tier 4 towers. Lund swapped in RRs. They found another kill onto the Bane this time around. They're committed. Onto the tier 4s they go. They want those buybacks. And Bob really doesn't want to commit it right now because he's only got 20 seconds left to respawn, but he may not have the time. Horns forward. Mob, he's going to back to the fountain, but that's one tier 4 gone. I think YG, they might think better of it now, though. Bob is up very, very soon. Hound's out of mana. Yeah, you've still got the Aegis, but it's only 25 seconds away from just kind of expiring. They'll try to retreat. If Tino can pick anyone off here as they are trying to rush forward. They're going to find skill A at the least. Lund going to swap him out. Are they really going to try and force a fight here? Young PH, he's gone back in onto RR and does get the Bane's Eye back. Back Mob, he's forced the song up and just TP away. They actually cannot fight this.
Yeah, all the songs are just defensive songs coming out from EXECRATION. They don't have the combination to be aggressive with it outside of like an arena. And Bob,
oh, here we go again, Bob. He's got buyback. He can't really afford. Died too many times though. Tier 4 still under siege here by Hao. He's just very focused as Tino now. Dropping low. Horn is going to be forced out. It's jumping through all the illusions. They found BDC, but they'll force a buyback as now Young PH going to get speared back into the fountain, but he's fine to remnant away. Zorain, well, they at least found one, but now the edge is exposed. Stuns out. They got BDC. They've got Bob down. He'll commit a buyback straight off the bat. They have to defend this. Young PH skewered back into the fountain, is going to drop. Agent, though, is so low right now. They just have to keep practicing away, and eventually YG will pull off game 1. As EXECRATION, we question the Naga.
no, it really doesn't. It looked good early on, you know, Marb.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
Let's crush me!
Radiant's bottom barracks are under
Decent there. Ultra.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Rock on! Five went into battle.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire are scanning. Dire's bottom tower is under
5 seconds remaining. Team bad. Radiant team bad. Dire team bad. Radiant team bad.
Impossible.
Dire team pick. Radiant team pick. Mars! Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick. Dire team bad. Radiant team bad. Dire team bad.
Ditch the Naga. I think the Naga just wasn't a core that could keep up pace. The counters were there from YG. They had the Ember Spirit to already kind of handle illusion spam. They went for the Radiance build in their Spectre. Eventually, they just didn't have enough to rip through. They did have the Silver Edge on Bob, but it's not like he could always jump the Spectre first and kind of get that break off. So I think just having a stronger win condition is the key thing for Execration. Otherwise, their execution in the early game was pretty good. They managed to build up really well. Their lanes went out really well as well. So just a stronger core, I think, is all we need from Execration. They are setting up for that. See the draft on hand here, Mike. Undying Venge for Yangon. So going back to the same opening, likely running the offlane Venge, but still some flex. You could run the Undying offlane as well, as we have seen from Mizu. Execration, back to the Mars for Tino, and the IO comes out as well. So you have options here. You could try for Gyrocopter with the IO. You could try for the Ursa. You could even go Tiny if you want to. And I think all of those options are a lot stronger than Naga. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't go IO Naga, but I would definitely prefer not to see that come out here.
Dire team bad. Radiant team bad. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
There's a surprising amount of Spirit Brothers left alone in the ban phase, Mike. So Ember, Storm, Void Spirit are all available. Young PH tends to love the Ember and Void Spirit, so they could just pick up the Ember once more to still have some sort of great jump in here for YG. His laning phase, it was against Alina, which Execration banned themselves. Should have a better time leveraging the Ember's early levels this time around if they want to go for it on YG's side. Of course, that would mean they're keeping 3 out of the 5 heroes they drafted from game 1, but if it worked once, no fault in going back to it again.
Radiant team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, they could play it safe, get a pause for it to kind of play with your Revenge. Last time around, we saw the Earth Spirit come true. For that, instead, they go for the Shaker, so it's now really open for YG. They could run offlane Shaker, they could run offlane Venge with Shaker 4. So many options and kind of flexing this around. Execration do go into the snap, so they secured themselves a really stable combination. This is coming true. We've seen that a couple of times already to great effect. I think that is something that can give Execration more fight potential, which was something they lacked a bit of. They had really good single target burst, but they didn't have anything to really play around the arena from the Mars in game 1. This time around with the snap, much easier to leverage that control, that area denial here from Execration. That should allow more bigger engagements to work out for Execration. So I like the snap pick. Should be our support now on pause 4. So snap Mars lane is pretty strong as well. Cookie on Mars, get some stuns, chain that up with a spear, and you're kind of good to go to be aggressive there. Execration building up even more in the AoE control. With the Dusa on hand, you've got Arena to protect the Dusa, get the Stone Gaze off. It is a hard hero to melt down. YG supports aren't really set to kill off a Dusa all too fast. Like, they don't have the best mana drain, they don't have the best burst damage. The minus armor from the Venge and the swap will be annoying, but I think the Dusa is still fairly well protected here. So a great pickup. YG straight into the TB, and now you've got the TB versus Dusa matchup, which, you know, in that mid-game spike where we tend to see games end, like say 30 to 40 minutes, Terrorblade does have a lot more impact. Like, the Scotty buildup is there, the Manta's there, and for the Dusa, you kind of need a lot to match the damage output of a TB on a single target. You need Butterfly up, possibly, maybe a Daedalus if you feel like it, and you're going to have your Manta, your own Scotty up. It's a lot more the Dusa has to farm up for, whereas TB just really needs Manta and just the Scotty. Heck, even just SNY Scotty could also work. So I like the Terrorblade in response. It plays a lot quicker. It can hold its lane really well. Up against the Mars Snap, doesn't feel like it's going to be zoned out too badly as long as you play with Metamorphosis back off when it's down. You can just kind of play from there. With an Undying to heal you up as well, you get a lot of value there. When Solar Rip is level 2, with Terrorblade's low HP pool, you heal him up by percent fairly high, so he's not going to be under too much threat. You're well protected enough here in YG.
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I think for Bob, he's not going to take either the Ember or Void Spirit, and if either one isn't banned, it's not going to be one of those two heroes. Bob's specialties are like, the only one left seems to be TA. TA Dusa is fairly greedy though, but we have seen teams draft that way, right? Like, have two really heavy cores. The TA hits an item spike earlier, takes over, the Dusa gets the farm afterwards, and gets priority from there, and both of them start scaling afterwards. So that could be one approach for Execration. Have Bob TA come out last, hold out in the slower part of the game, build up from there. You do see the Ember band out to protect Terrorblade, taking out Great Illusion Clear here with the Ember Spirit. That does leave only the Void Spirit left for mid, unless someone wants to be cheeky and take out the Earth Spirit mid, but haven't seen that in a long time, and that was mainly... Who was it? It was mainly Abed and Yopaj playing that, so it's been a long time since Abed's in C. Leshrac is the last pick for Execration, so going with that instead. We have seen Bob wreck face with Lesh, and that is one really good way to handle Terrorblade with magic damage, get some good push going as well. And now you have two great tether targets on the Io. Io Dusa can be good late game, but early on, Io Lesh is going to be hard to burst down as well.
Choose your hero.
I think timing-wise, I'd lean towards YG. I feel like the Terrorblade, once he has a couple of items up with a Metamorphosis, just melts down Dusa. There is the factor of Arena to protect, along with Kisses and Stone Gaze, so it can be a bit awkward, but if you catch Marb out in a bad spot, the Dusa is fairly easy to punish here. It's all down to execution, and I think after what we've seen from Game 1, YG can play around really well once they hit their tempo, so I think draft-wise it's even. I would give the edge to YG based on what we've seen in Game 1, but it can go either way. Like, if EXECRATION hit this good push timing with their Lesh, buy out space for Marb, Medusa can grow really big, and the team fight of EXECRATION is a lot easier to execute. You just get Arena off, you get the Kisses off in the back, the Arena will protect you from the Metamorphosis of Terrorblade if he's inside, or if he's outside and your Medusa's in, that also protects you. That just negates the damage, and can lead to a pretty good back and forth there.
You don't have
YG, it's one of those teams, right? Like, they show you moments of brilliance that you're just not really expecting. Definitely very messy compared to the bigger teams per se, but there is certainly some improvement going on here from this side.
Yeah, and they're one of the teams that have kept their roster since the last time we saw them in Pro Series 8. So they've had a lot more time to learn each other's in and outs, and we've seen that kind of be an advantage for a lot of teams like Motivate Trust. They've stuck together for almost a year now, not counting that time they were split up by Fnatic and by T1 for a moment. They've been together for a long time, and that growth has shown. Same thing for YG. I think they have been getting better and better as time goes on, and it's just about keeping that proven going. For EXECRATION, and they have some proven names. Like Bob is a well-known figure. Marb is on the up and up from IAP, showing what he's worth, coming out from the sister team of EXECRATION.
30 seconds to
So it's a great back and forth, and I think for EXECRATION they have a lot more to hold on to because they have more expectations behind them, and YG kind of have that underdog factor working out well for them.
Oh, Tino, he's gonna be all, or maybe not. The Fisher, I believe, has blocked him in, but RR is gonna have the cookie. A nice little setup there onto Tino, but RR just holding onto the skill point, making sure they had that cookie available at that right moment. There'll be no first blood popping off. Should be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties as well. So a nice even start for these two teams. While we're here, we'll start with the top lane, where you do have skill lay on that pos 4 Earthshaker, and you've got Lun again on that pos 3 Vengeful Spirit. Against Marb on the Medusa this time around, and of course RR on the Snapfire. I expect this to be a very boring lane between these two teams. Unless you're about to tell me otherwise, John, but it does feel like one of those no-kill kind of lanes.
I think you can actually line up for aggression here on YG's side early on. Once you hit level 3 on Shaker, it is a bit slower going, but you will have the enchant with the aftershock stun to follow through from the Fissure stun. You can try to be aggressive, play with a minus armor on hand. RR in a good position, snipes one courier, almost snipes out the Venge courier. A lot of value from that movement out, and stalls out the movement of Lun. So one whole wave going to Marb uncontested. Good news for the Medusa to keep building up. That's all you want for EXECRATION. So it's a bit slower for EXECRATION, maybe a bit faster for YG, but considering the cures they're up against here from YG, they're probably just going to look to play it passive until at least level 3.
Yeah. Of course, over in the mid lane, Young PH against Bob here. You'd make the argument the Kunkka just doesn't really lose this matchup, but it can still go either way. Depends whether Bob can just outplay a Young PH on this Kunkka. Anything we should keep an eye out for with this mid lane matchup, John?
Bottles are very important. Maybe a bit more emphasis there for Bob. So you kind of want the side of EXECRATION to move the heroes in for that 2-minute rune. More importantly, the 4-minute rune is really what sets the pace. And denying off that rune from the opposing mid kind of gives you a big advantage. Level 3 is up on both sides. Bob not really getting the skill point yet. Does get the stun off. So you could look for the Edict and just run down. No X here from Young PH. You can't really hold it back. give Bob a bit of a window for aggression. I mean, Kunkka, again, hard to zone out. Can still play with a Tidebringer, but you can't underestimate the magic damage of that Lash early on.
Yeah. Bob getting some very nice harassment there onto young PH. And of course, the final lane is the bot lane, where you do have Hao, along with Zorain, and you've got BDZ and Tino against them. Again, all lanes kind of seem very passive. So I don't really see too much happening down this bot lane either. I suppose Zorain could choose to get very aggressive on this Undying, but unless you catch the Mars, you're probably not going to kill off the IO. Could be another one of those kind of even trading lanes here down this bot side.
Yeah, and this one's a bit more passive. They didn't run the Snapfire Mars lane. They're going IO Mars for the regen and durability, which is nice. But that does mean your aggression's not really going to be there. And Hao, every time he has the Metamorphosis, he's going to be safe. They can be aggressive on Tino if he's not careful.
They're going to try right now, Tino. He's going to try and turn around now, in fact, onto Hao. Zorain, he's out of mana. Does hit pretty hard, but it won't matter if you can't spam Decay out. About that point with the Undying now just doesn't really have much value in the laning phase. Needs some mana regen, might just have to deny himself off. We'll see as he will just pull the wave away, but might just be a free kill here for Tino, and will be. Tino takes first blood on that Mars. I suppose at this point you may as well just gotten a reset on the Undying, but you don't want to give the first blood though over to the Mars if you can avoid it.
Yeah, and there's an aspect here I forgot to mention. Because the Undying takes away strength, you're amping up the IO heal, right? So he tethers up, he gives bonus healing out. It's easier for the Mars to hit max HP again, and once the decay fades, he's back at full HP. So that is something you can leverage here quite well on side. Just have to watch when decay stack up with no tether. That's where it feels a bit awkward, but beyond that, Tino's not under too much heavy threat. Maybe once Zorain hits level 3 with level 2 Soul Rip, it gets a bit dicier with Magical Burst, but until that point, you're fairly happy here for the side of Execration.
Oh, absolutely. Not playing Skill Lay and RR, gonna just go at it. Skill Lay wants to go for the stack, but RR will not allow him, and it's gonna force him back as the amount of damage with the right clicks is it's quite high with that little shredder. In fact, Lun's gonna give his salve over to the Earthshaker. There you go, Skill Lay, he'll be alright. Again, only one kill so far in 4 minutes in, and you kind of expect this from the drafts. It's all about that mid game for these two teams. I just really don't expect anything to happen till then. Maybe if you get a power rune here on Bob or on young PH, you could see a big rotation out, but yeah, chances are we're going to be waiting quite a bit of time for that, as well as... Well, they are getting rather active in the mid lane, but only against each other.
Just playing a bit of tag, as you'd expect from Lush and Kunkka. They have great early presence against each other. You finally have the value point in X for young PH. If you could look to line up a Torrent, get some more control in Bob. But Bob does have level 3 Edict. So if you overstep, you're going to be able to melt the Kunkka out and kind of build up from there. Again, slower pace of game. You are seeing supports chase each other up top. Skill Lay just kind of prevented from going anywhere with RR.
I was kind of confused by the voice line there for a second, John. 5 minutes in. So, no Echo Slam up yet, as they are going to make the chase in onto Marb now. And Marb already quite low on mana. She's taking so much damage. They're just going to keep going as well. They might have him. But no, he pops the mana shield back up. Magic Missile's there. But do they have the damage to finish him off? Not quite. Lun down. I suppose in the meantime, they did drop Tino on that Mars. So it's going to be an off lane for an off lane.
It does feel a little bit nicer for Marb. You know, the Dusa will enjoy the early kill. It does hit level 6. So can start to focus in on trying to clear out some jungle stacks. Unfortunately, again, with RR's movement, he's been kind of cut off by our Shaker, so he hasn't been able to get as much stacks up. But eventually we'll get the space to do so. Marb has to be a bit cautious. No mana now. A bit more vulnerable. And for the side of YG, how is still off to a better start? Slightly ahead in terms of net worth. You will have to watch Medusa. You have to monitor the jungle, prevent the stacks from being cleared, because she will flash farm very fast now that the split shot is leveled up so high. And how his clearing is good with the illusions, but Metamorphosis only has so much uptime.
Go late. Find out the snap buy, so RR gonna drop. Young PH gonna be very happy with that pick off. Meanwhile, on the other side, in the Dire Triangle, Zorain has been kind of locked up on this high ground. nothing that he can do. And unfortunately for him, that tombstone is probably going to go the way of Bob. He does pick it up on the Lesh, so even more gold going to the Leshrax's way. Of course, just going to clear out these stacks now being made as Young PH is going to try and clean them up as well. I believe he got 1 or 2, but the majority still goes back the way of the Leshrax, so happy days for Execration.
Getting some good farm going under Lesh. YG still having a very even game, 2-3, less than 1k net worth lead on Execration, but it's really not much. All the cores are within a few hundred gold of each other. Not much of a major lead yet. Laning phase still relatively even. There is a bit more aggression coming out from YG up top though, already going for that tier 1 push. Whereas for Execration, they can't really force in the bot lane yet, so some pressure coming through, but not much follow-up.
Oh, Cookie stun out, RR. Oh no, he's going to be saved, Bob. A great split earth out onto 2 heroes, and well, skill A at least is going to drop. Lun, he'll be a little bit luckier. He'll be allowed to run. Bob 2-0 now on this Leshrac, having a very good game thus far. If he can keep it up, it's looked pretty clean as of late. It just no real problems here for Bob. Not yet.
He's getting that aggression out. I think the one thing we want to see from our Leshrac soon is maybe a bit of a shove-in. So you want to commit to a tower, get it melting soon, ideally mid. But the Kunkka is a bit hard to rip through, and the regen gonna be fought over here.
Nope. Nice little deny there by RR. Young PH, he's not going to be caught out anyway. You haven't got anything like a Yule Scepter up yet for Bob to really just lock him down. Slight net worth lead for the side of Execration. I do mean slight, but I expect that to slowly increase as we are seeing stacks being taken here by Bob. And of course, you're always going to have the Medusa who's just going to sit in jungle just farming non-stop. I suppose the TB does do a similar thing, but I would argue it's a much slower process than the Medusa. But I say that. For now, Hal's having a great old time. Top lane. Lun doesn't realize they're around, so Bob's going to move in. Cookie stun is there. Magic missile is thrown out, but oh no, that's a nice swap. So add RR to swap with. Quick thinking there from Lun. Just fine to survive, but bot lane Zorain's going to drop, so they do at least get an Undying.
Not the biggest kill coming out for side of Execration. Still a meaningful one. Opens up a bit of a shove down bot. Top lane though, How does show up. Does have Metamorphosis down, but for the damage they have coming through with the aura on Lun, they should have enough to take out that top tier 1.
Yeah, he may have just helped clear out these ancient stacks, as I believe he got like 1 or 2 creeps, but definitely not enough to make it worth his time. I'll just chase him down. Cookie will land. Tombstone though, Zorain's going to try and help out. And it will be enough time to allow Young PH to get himself out at the cost of a Tombstone, of course. Go the way of the Snapfire anyway, so not too big of a deal. Yeah, those ancient stacks are quite low now, so you might see Marb rotate to try and sort it out. Seems like he does want that bottom tier 1 tower first, however. But he's the only one hitting that tier 1. He may have to just go back for the ancients now.
Get that farm going while you can. I think for push, we have to see Bob commit its body forward. It looks like he might be waiting for the travels to be up first to be really secure in his movement. But I think with just the IO tether, you should feel pretty good about how speedy you are. So Bob, BDZ gonna make their way bot. Finally look for that tier 1 trade. Top was already taken out by How earlier on. So our TB is already playing in that top jungle. And you kind of need to get that space out for your Dusa as well. Leverage that early timing you have on the Lesh, and we'll see if Bob can get that done. Maxed out Edict, ready to go. There's potential for defense, but it's only skill A for now, showing bot, and doesn't have the blink up yet. It's early on for the Sport Shaker. Of much to use in terms of holding back this push.
Bob gets started. That Diabolic Edict just going to rip right through that tier 1 tower, no issue. So you already found the opposing tier 1, so not really too big of a problem here for YG either. Hal still having a great old time farming on this Terrorblade. Still top of the net worth board, but Marb is getting very close in that Dusa. Slowly but surely, to that point where you are looking to overtake, and he has gotten there now. Still a very quiet game, all things being said and done. 2-5, but You pointed out that boots of travel timing for Bob. He should have it up. In fact, never mind. He is going for the Yule Scepter first. Once that's up, I expect a lot more aggression here from Execration. YG, I kind of expect the same from them, but they haven't really made the move yet.
I think they're being much more patient with build-up on, say, skill lay, trying to hit that blink timing, trying to get the Ags timing on their Venge. Bob, though, is caught out, but I don't know if Young PH can make it in. Does have the X ready, though.
Now Reload coming in to try and help out Bob. They might try to turn this one around. Boat is going to connect. BDZ going to heal up this ledge, but the Echo Slam going to be more than enough damage. They do at least kill it, skill laid down. That'll be about it. Still a very valuable pick off there for YG. They should just be able to get everyone out. Sphere committed as well from Tino, but RR, no, he's going to commit the cookie anyway. No way to cancel this. Just be fine to get back towards the fountain. In the meantime, Mom's being chased by a zombie. That's basically to just buy Hao to push the mid-tier 1 tower in. So YG still getting a great trade as now Hao is forced to try and fight this arena, but they got the Stone Gaze, they got the stun. Fisher, though, is going to buy enough time to get the Sunder off. Execration, they could not secure the kill.
It's a decent attempt at a hold from Execration, but the mid-tier 1 does fall. Good push coming out from YG. They are lagging behind in kills, but they've got the more important objectives. With a mid-tier 1 gone, with the top tier 1, the top jungle is very open now for YG to kind of invade. It makes it easier to look for those gank attempts and kind of protect their own triangle. There are no easy TP points for a smoke gank coming through from Execration, so Hao gets a little bit more space in his triangle to build up. Already has a Dragon Lance and Yasha. So he's building up in the stats. It's a bit tankier. Wants the full Manta style next. And once you hit that point on Terrorblade, it's just a bit of a smooth ride towards that Scotty timing, which you really want to hit fast. And that's going to set the tone for YG, how fast the Scotty can come through. Execration going out with a smoke. They can kind of play around. Arena's down. Oh, no, Arena's back up with a blink. They can look to try and catch someone out here.
They get, though. Young PH around the Conker, but he's going to X himself up. Instead, they're going to try onto the Undying, Zorain. Yeah, not the best kill in the world. Definitely not the kill Execration really wanted. The only one they had available to them, though. We'll just have to take it. Still gonna look back at Hao, though, back at the top of the net worth board. In fact, they're pretty much even. For a moment there, they were exactly the same cold amount between the Medusa and the TB. So the carry matchup still very, very even between these two.
Yeah.
I suppose the deciding factor could be Bob on that Lesh or Young PH on the Conker. Right now, Young PH finds himself ahead.
Yeah, he's having a really good time on the Conker. Bob's not able to get as much space out with Medusa eating all the farm right now. Interesting to note as well, Mike, if you look at the item buildups on Marv, it is the same buildup as the T-Bell, although they get one with the arena.
Yeah, yes, Zarin Lun is going to try, but will not be able to get out. They'll try to chase down Tino, but he's got help right behind him. Young PH, going to go for a torrent, but it will not connect. Suppose now the Stone Gaze is committed, though. They could keep going for more. RR trying to abuse that Shadow Amulet, but eventually will get X'd up here by Young PH. The Tidebringer will be more than enough to take him down. So a 1-for-1. They got the offlane Venge, so you'd argue it's definitely favorable for Execration. But now Tino's going to show up. Onto Zorain. They might find another. Back body blocks are there. Zorain, no, he's fine. They actually can't hold him down long enough. But Bob's here now on the left rack. Spish is going to save, however. Bob being brought underneath that tier 2 tower, but he has been easy around, but no, the Echo Slam. Skill lay. Once again finding Bob in the exact same manner. Down at the bot lane. Bob, he had a great start, but slowly it is dwindling away. That skill lay, he's going to find more now. BDZ getting caught by that X. Boat is going to be up with the torrent, and that'll be another kill here for Young PH.
Building up, great engagement coming through from YG in the end, paying off in a big way. While all of that happens, of course, they leave their Terrorblade to farm up. Same thing for Execration, leaving the Deuce to farm up, and The same items are still flying through. Manta done for both sides. Scotty next for Adusa. More than likely Scotty next for TB. So even farm, even items. As you said, Mike, it will boil down to the mids, and because Young PH has been picking up the kills, he's having a better time. BKB timing for the Kunkka is going to be up soon. Once that's up, the damage output of your Lesh just kind of drops all the way down. And you're going to have to catch Young PH out first before the BKB flies in to kind of get their combination off.
They go, Tino, no, immediate stun out with the enchant totem. Kisses were committed straight off the bat. They might at least get Zorain with that, but he looks to get away. Bob now, he's been used up. Young PH trying to chase him down. And they won't catch him. In the meantime, Tino's still trying to fight Zorain. That'll force out the Stone Gaze from Marb. It's a really messy fight going on here between these two teams, as now Young PH wants to keep rushing onto Bob. Without the Stone Gaze, you wonder, are they going to remain safe? Marb, he stood his ground, is going to try and fight Hal. He's got the meta going. Yet nobody really tying quite yet, but Marb, he's very low on mana now. And out of position with the swap out from Lund, might just drop. Eventually, it looks like it may happen, but no, the cookie's there. Relocate away, just everyone making sure Marb stays alive. And really nobody dying. Just nobody dies.
It's a great defensive arena from Tino to cut off. Like, he did manage to block How in the arena, so the hits weren't coming onto Marb for a long time until the swap came true. And by the time they used X, relocate, they did just wait for the X to go away. They managed to get the save on Marb, and our Dusa is going to hold up. Still an even game. 7-8, slight net worth lead coming out for YG now, but Marb and How are still tied up. In fact, the Dusa pulling ahead by 500 gold. So having a bit of a better time there on the Dusa. Do manage to catch out Lun. They kill off the Venge. I think for Lun, like the thing for YG is that they need the Ags to be up in the Venge. They need that secondary life to be up, to have more impact, to have the swaps, the stuns available. And they need a little bit more patience. 600 gold away for Lun. Once that's up, he's going to be much more willing to throw his body forward. And that should make it a little bit easier to isolate Marb.
Top lane, a bit of a surround here against Bob. No TP available for now, but he's just going to hide in that tree line, realizing they are on their way. In the meantime, Execration setting up that mid-tier 1 tower, but they are losing their top tier 2. Suppose they've got to get this mid-tier 1 eventually, and they'll get it done. Still have plenty of time to try and protect this tier 2 top tower if they wish. Bob's trying to sort out the tombstone, but it'll be healed up once again. It won't matter though. YG not fully committing. As they have meta up in 5. In the meantime, Zorain has been caught out by so that'll be one going to the way of Execration, but that's about it. They're not going to find anyone else. YG, they're not willing to fight either. They'll just go back to the triangle and just keep that farm up.
Just take it slow. They managed to avoid a big smoke gank and only lose their pause 5 and dying, so not the biggest issue in the world for YG. Execration. And they drag back the lead their way. You are starting to see more build-up on Marb, so he might hit his Scotty timing slightly earlier. That could set the pace in the next big engagement, but you're not too far behind for How. So it's still going to be an even timing, as looks like YG might be looking to keep playing aggressive top. Bob, step forward here.
Bob just going to run his way out again. They are having trouble catching this Leshrac another time. In lane, he is going to be out onto the Kunkka, followed up by the Cookie, but he's always got the X back. Real fear here for Young PH. Of course, in the meantime, Lund does get the Ags up now on the Venge, so you've got a lot more utility here on this Vengeful Spirit now. I wonder at what point do these teams just group up and try and go? It feels like we haven't really seen a proper 5v5 yet. Everyone just continues to survive through them. And Execration, they might try to force one now at the bot tier 2 tower, but it seems like YG will just trade the top tier 2.
Just both going for the safe objective play. The Scotty does come through for Marb a bit quicker. this could be the point where Execration does look to maybe force a fight out. Top tier 2 still stands. Oh, it does eventually fall, so the outpost trade is going to happen as well. A better outpost coming out for YG. That will give them clearer Roche access. They could kind of start clearing out a bit more, maybe set up for the next Roshan. For the first Roshan, as it is still standing, but now How runs past. Back to farm. Wants the Scotty to equalize, but there is that smoke from Execration here.
Go. Bob. Fine for now, but no, skill late. He lands the Fisher. Bob. Rookie not going to help him out. He'll use up, but it's too late. The X is there. Boat will fly in. Bob, he will just get deleted. No real contest. It's Execration just not 100% sure what to do about it. And now they'll find more. Marv, he's going to pop the Stone Gaze very early on. And should be able to get out. In fact, Lun, he just keeps going for more. Echo is there. Skill late trying to turn this one around. They are going after BDZ on that IO. And they'll get him straight off the bat. But BDZ, he'll commit a buyback. He needs to be around for his team. In the meantime, Tino about to drop here to this Kunkka. Be able to just blink away with the spear out. Definitely a bit of a team fight win for YG. They force the buyback from BDZ and they do find Bob. Does cost them just the Venge.
The side of Execration are still fairly pleased though. They save Marv, so their Dusa does get to live to the fight another day. YG though with that opening can go for Roshan and they will dip into it. They've got Metamorphosis ready to go, minus armor from Venge. And it's not going to take too long with the output. Execration, no arena, no Stone Gaze. Might be a bit tough going in there. No kisses as well. They've got the rough feeling that something's happening. They're playing that jungle, but they can't really dive in yet.
I mean, it feels like they have to try. Roshan's still slowly just dwindling away. Arena up at 25, still a while off as you're gonna have to spear out, but Hal's fine. Gilday meanwhile looking for a nice fish shot. Not gonna throw it out onto Marb yet. He's got Stone Gaze in 3 seconds. It's too late. Roshan's down. Marb is pretty far forward. Where's the rest of the team? They've kind of left him behind for now. But I suppose you've always got BDZ, but he's got no relocate. Marb, he's going to disengage, but the Fisher is there, locking him down. Can you secure the kill? Not quite. Kazor range dropped. RR does go down to the Snapfire, and now Marb, well, he's low on mana. He's dropping here to Hal, and eventually, even with BDZ around, it's just not going to be enough. They'll secure the kills. In the meantime, Tino's been left behind on this Mars. There'll be another kill to go the way of YG. In fact, triple kill to Hal.
Terrorblade just hits like a truck. It's that back and forth timing we were talking about, Mike, where Terrorblade with the same items as Adusa, it's going to feel a lot better because you've got Metamorphosis, you've got better damage, you've got a lot more durability coming out with your base armor. Adusa kind of plays with a mana shield. Her damage output is not as amazing, and it just kind of shows in these fights. High ground opens up for YG. How? No Metamorphosis left. His kisses will hold him back for a bit, but not for long. Another creep wave does come true. Will be cleared out by the Fortify. They've still got a bit of a window where they can just keep ripping through without worrying about Execration's response yet.
Well, they've got the range creep still alive. Very unfortunate here for Execration as they threw everything but the kitchen sink. Now Bob is going to BKB up, but Hal is literally just right-clicking him to death. Oh, Bob. Thought he was safe with the BKB, but Hal needs no meta. They get another. Marb is back, but he doesn't really do much damage. Boat's off the mark though. Arena down, Spear is there. They get the Venge life, but Lun's got the secondary. He's even going to swap Marb away. So he will lose his secondary remnant, but what does it matter? I mean, you've already got the mid-racks down, because you should be very satisfied here as YG. Execration, they just don't seem to have an answer.
Yeah, and that was YG forcing the high ground without Metamorphosis. It's going to be back up in 20 seconds. That's going to be a Crystallis flying out as well here for Hao. So even more damage for her Terribly that Ardusa just can't match up with. Of course, she has... Alright, she has a Crystallis as well going to Daedalus. So it's, again, still same item build for both cores. What the Terribly does it better. Because as a Dusa, you have to have Night Lead. Because your kit it's very well suited for farming. Your damage output on single target, again, isn't amazing because of that damage penalty on the split shot, and even if you turn that off, you don't have something like Metamorphosis. Whereas How can just pop that on, get his BAT drop down, get range, get bonus damage coming through. Deuce has none of that, so it's just a favorable time for the Terrorblade in the matchup. And for Execration, you know, they still hold on to a few portions of their map. Their triangle is still safe. They can still farm here, but the side of YG is feeling more confident. Age is still up for 2 minutes. Looks like they will just wait for the full Daedalus up, and it's not much longer for Hal. Just about 300 gold. Same thing for Marb. His is a bit longer, 700 gold, but that's the difference we're talking about. Just a 700 gold gap, yet the Terrorblade feels a lot bigger.
Look at Bob. Bob, he's gonna find out the hard way. He was being stalked by young PH. He's got the BKB, but he won't even survive the right clicks. Tino, he was trying to make his way over on the Mars to help out in some way, shape or form, but there's no helping Bob at this point. The Leshrax game is just dead.
Missed that spike. I think he had this really early spike. We expected him to push the mid-tier one a bit faster. Execration didn't manage to get that objective until much later on. And now his damage output isn't great. With some spell immunity coming through, he can't really melt a lot of frontliners. The boat buff kind of makes it hard to get burst off as well. And now, bot tier 1 gone, bot tier 2 next. How? Not even popping Metamorphosis for it. Has his Daedalus up. Of course, Marb has his Daedalus flying in as well. Again, the back-to-back would of course the same, but How is just a lot stronger. It's just Terrorblade. It's just the way it is.
Yep. They're going to go high ground. 30 seconds with that Aegis up. Still plenty of time to at least get through this tier 3 tower. There's your glyph being forced out again from Execration, but you've got to commit to a fight here if you're Execration. Marb, Skill lane in position with the Echo up, and they are very grouped up right now. They're trying to make the jump in onto Lon. He'll try to back his way up, but he's got the secondary life anyway. So one down. Hal. There's only 3 seconds on that Aegis. They might time this perfectly. Hal will sunder and just try to back off. He'll make it out, and now maybe they can just turn with the Metamorphosis. They've got Tino down. Marb, he's trying to fight back with the Stone Gaze. Young PH is still perfectly fine, however, not being petrified whatsoever. In fact, BDZ, he ran into the range of Hal. He just gets bursted down so quick. In fact, Skill A actually died against the Bob. And YG, they're still in a great position here to push that bot lane of Barracks and just back. In fact, Skill A buys back. They want to go for the end, it looks like. Thing is, Skill A's got a long walk to make. It's going to take him a bit of time. Marb, though, is caught out of position again. Already out of mana. Not looking too great. Bob, in the meantime, trying to fight against this TB. They get a spear, but he gets him to the low ground. He's not dead yet. In fact, Hal back up high. They have at least got Zorain down, but now the Medusa just being completely surrounded. It's not looking good. A godlike spree now for young PH, as they are all down with that buyback. And YG, I believe, have pulled off the 2-0 victory here. Execration, they're going to try and to defend a little bit longer. BDZ, he's going to go right back to the graveyard, it looks like. I suppose at least they found the conquer. But nobody's going to protect that Ancient now. YG, they'll finish this game off. GG's called. Execration, they'll have to bow out 0-2 tonight.
Yeah, I love what YG's done. They just go back for the Terrorblade, better core-to-core matchup. They had this really strong Kunkka coming out from UPH, and they run really nice lanes. Their lanes just worked out really well. There was some initial farm